Hello, and welcome in to my very first episode of yapping about nothing. Um, I'm not sure how I structured the thumbnail of this video, but I think it might have clickbaited you a little bit. I do have a little bit of an idea what I want to talk about today, and that's games that have got me addicted very recently. So, I'm a huge fan of Tetris. I don't know if you guys knew this, but I'm a huge fan of Tetris, and I have been just so obsessed playing it on my Switch. I got my Switch hooked up, back up again recently for the new Pokemon Legends ZA, Pokemon Legends ZA. And let me tell you, I have forgotten how addicting Puyo Puyo Tetris is. I played the first Puyo Puyo Tetris when it first came out, and when Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 came out, I was like, instant buy, I gotta get it. Um, I think I wouldn't have gotten addicted to it if it wasn't on the Switch. It's kind of one of those games that's really easy to just turn on and then just start playing it. It's like you have your Switch on your night table or whatever. You have your Switch next to you on your bed, and you're like, I'm kind of bored. I don't really want to watch anything on my phone. I'll pull up Tetris and then maybe put on some background noise or something, right? Like, that's what I do with Tetris, and it's fucking amazing. Like, I can't get enough of it, right? And it's a pretty fun game. I used to be actually really bad at Tetris until Puyo Puyo Tetris came around, and I kind of just like got addicted. And I wouldn't say I'm like professional level like speedrunners doing like awesome like little T spins and making wells specifically for T spins. I'm still playing it, even though Puyo Puyo Tetris is a modern Tetris where you do the spin moves or T spin, S spin, stuff like that. Where it's more optimal for you to set the wells up for the spins or whatever they're called. I don't even know what they're called. I just know to set up a well. Um, People familiar with Tetris, I usually do an 8-0 well. We do 8 zeros over here. Just so the two spaces is enough for most Tetraminos, even if it's not necessarily a Tetris. But you can put the eyepiece in, right? That's for some of you Tetris heads out there. So yeah, another game that's gotten me kind of like addicted is actually Satisfactory. I've played Satisfactory when it was in early access, and I think they just released it like last year, sometime in 2024. So, um, yeah, I'm surprised that they gone and did that because, um, well, I mean, I guess it's not surprising for a game to be released, but I'm just surprised that it's been so long. I felt like I've played it for at least 4 or 5 years ago. Satisfactory is not a new game by any means, but I guess they completed 1.0 just last year. I'm trying to remember when I bought it. Um, it had to have been pre-COVID, right? I don't know. It was around that time. Um, I remember I was going to college pre-COVID, so I'm trying to think if that was um when I went and got it. I don't know. Oh well. Yeah, but Satisfactory is a very satisfactory game. See what I did there. Yeah. Um, I think Satisfactory is a pretty good game. It's very engaging for sure. And I think how they like trick you into playing its gameplay loop is pretty cool. You know, it targets people like me where it's like, all right, maybe I can squeeze a little bit more efficiency out of these smelters. Maybe I can line them up a little better. Maybe just move this a little bit here. Maybe line these up over here, and then you're off doing all these things, and then you're like making like storages. I want to be clear. Let me be clear. I have not played like late stage Satisfactory. I think the latest I've been was getting like the upgraded mining thing, like the second version of the mining machine. And that was long ago. I think they made the requirements harder. Um, right now in my current playthrough, I'm trying to figure out a pipeline for my coal sort of energy source. So yeah, and that's all the way. It's way far off from my actual factory. So I did make the tractor though, thankfully, and I still need to make some steel stuff. Not like theft, but like steal, like the metal. Like I know stealing's not metal, but the metal steel with the STEEL. Yeah, I've been pretty addicted to those games. Going back to Tetris though, um, it just feels like such an easy game to just pick up and play, and I think that's why Game Boy is sold, isn't it not? I think that's why the Game Boy was sold, um, because it came packaged with Tetris. I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they made the perfect game, but they did. Reminds me, I got to charge my Switch. I was actually playing Tetris before this, and oh my gosh, it's just like I definitely don't think it's very fun to watch Tetris, but like actually playing it. I mean, maybe there's people who've enjoyed watching me play Tetris. So it's not necessarily something that isn't boring or something to watch. Like I guess it would be satisfying to watch someone play Tetris, but I don't really understand why people enjoy that stuff. But I guess that's just like a me problem because I also don't know why people would want to watch me. I mean, of course, I want people to watch me, but there's some things that people say that they're like, oh, I like this aspect or the stream, or I like this aspect of the stream, or I'm enjoying the stuff you do when you do this, and then like that's usually just the more mundane stuff. And you know, you kind of at some point, in if you guys are ever feeling like you want to be streamers, you know, there's just a certain point where you have to realize like the people who are there watching you still even after all these years are there for you. You know, it's not necessarily that you don't owe them anything. And I think that was one of my main problems in the past is like I felt like I owed people entertainment when me just being me was the entertainment. And I guess, you know, some of that is like kind of selling yourself out. Um, and stuff like that. Especially if you're trying to grow your audience, you kind of have to sell yourself out a little bit. Um, you know, but that's just how that is. Anyway, back to Tetris though. Like I was playing Tetris at a mall, and it was back when Tetris 99 was like huge, and I was like, oh, they got Tetris 99 on the display switch. And then I just played it for like maybe 40 minutes. And my friend that I went with was just watching me. And they were like, oh, I just like watching you play Tetris. And I'm just like, I didn't, I didn't think it'd be that engaging because I was literally standing there just playing Tetris on the Nintendo Switch, and they were just on the display Nintendo Switch, and they were just watching me like behind me. And then I was just, you know, like at that point, I was like just playing it just to play it, you know. But like, I guess there I was feeling a little bit of pressure because like, are you just gonna watch me the entire time? You know, maybe there's some extra things under that. There's probably some other things to unpack onto that. You know, it was a person of the opposite gender that was watching me play Tetris, so maybe they weren't really necessarily watching me play Tetris because they liked watching me play Tetris. But you know, let me tell you what, I fumbled that bag a long time ago. But hey, that's just a little bit of Noneru lore here. Um, uh, you know, it's Tetris is, I guess, in my adult life has always been like a persistent game. I guess a lot of people don't know this, but I'm not very much of a gamer. In my growing up, I mean, I like playing with like Legos, and of course, I 100%ed the Lego Star Wars. What's it? Complete Saga when I was a kid on the Wii. Um, Other than that, you know, I used to rent games. My main console back then was the Wii, and then my sister had a PlayStation 3. And what we did on her PS3 was just play Rock Band, and I would always just sing um, on. I would just sing all the songs in Rock Band while she played the guitar and my dad was on the drums. Those are my early memories. I also played like every Pokemon game since Fire Red and Leaf Green, which is the remake. I also played Mario Kart Super Circuit. Very cool game. Oh yeah, Mario versus Donkey Kong on the Game Boy. But I guess I wouldn't really say I'm much of a gamer. You know, you hear a lot of people say like, oh, I used to play Call of Duty and stuff when I was like 8 or whatever. And I'm just like, I didn't do that. I did play Halo with my dad and my sister as well when I was a child. But of course, they would just kind of like, I wouldn't say they'd target me, but I was a very easy target to kill because I was probably like maybe 3 or 4 years old when we started, and maybe we did that until I was probably like 7. So, um, yeah, we would do that pretty often. I also played Skate 3 a lot on her PlayStation. When I really started playing my own sort of console games, I would say is probably the Wii U era. But on the Wii U, all I would really play was Assassin's Creed 3. I did get Call of Duty Ghosts on that. I played some of that, and then I got a PS4 maybe like 2 or 3 years after that. Um, and that's when I really started just playing games. But I wouldn't say I'm like necessarily like good at them. Around like 2016, when I'd say 16, when I was 15, 16, that's when I really got into like PC because I played Minecraft. I'd say I played Minecraft since I was like 12. So 12 to like 16, Minecraft was probably my most played game. Um, and then I got into fighting games um, when I was like around 15, because that's for the time I got into anime. And there's a little game called Skullgirls that got me into playing fighting games. So yeah, uh, I'd say right now it's Tetris and Satisfactory that are really keeping me hooked, though. Um, I wouldn't really call myself a gamer. I don't really see myself as a gamer. Yes, I play a lot of video games. Yes, I play a lot of video games, but I wouldn't necessarily call myself a gamer because I wouldn't say I'm really that good at them. I mean, of course, when it comes to like JRPGs and stuff, because like I grew up playing Pokemon, and then that's where I kind of learned to optimize like my moves and stuff like that. Optimize your Pokemon, and it's kind of second nature to me to try to at least max out everybody and try to make sure they have the best sort of build they can, even if it's not like the most competitive ready team. I want to make sure the team that I have at least has its most optimal moves. I guess that's a little thing for me as well. Is like I like to min max um, for some things. You know, PoE. I know Path of Exile is about min maxing, and I love that aspect of it. But the main thing for me for PoE is doing the build. Is the process of making the build, and then sometimes like I guess the most fun for me when I play PoE is like starting the build. But like once I get to a point where like okay, this is where the build's actually starting, I kind of just stop because I'm like, I mean, I already, even though I'm not like maxed out on everything, I can already do the thing that I wanted to do. Like let's say I want to do like exploding falling zombies, right? For the first PoE, there's one where the zombies like fall and then they explode on impact and stuff like that, which I think is cool that you can do. And stuff like Vampire Survivors, you know, Hollow Cure, and I think Mega Bonk uh, fill that itch without having to play through like a 40-hour story. I know it's probably not 40 hours, but it's a long story just to try to get to your build. You know, nobody's playing Path of Exile for the story, really, right? I mean, that's like with Diablo as well. It's like similar to Diablo. Same thing. Like I just want to do my cool shit and walk around and do my cool shit on a ton of enemies, and I think that's how um like I said, Megabonk and Brotato, you know, Halls of Torment, like those games that I mentioned earlier, um, really really fill that void, like that itch, without having to go through that story. Because those were the exact games that I mentioned earlier. Um, but yeah, I'd say I really got into video games as a teenager, which is pretty late for most people. Because you got people these days like, oh yeah, I got into gaming when I was like 3, and like all I did was go home and play on my Nintendo 64, play on my GameCube, stuff like that. I didn't do that. We also had an original Xbox. I mean, I guess you could imply that from me talking about how I played Halo with my family, but we had an original Xbox as well, and my main two games on there were Cell Damage and Mad Dash. I played the heck out of those two games, and I'm not necessarily into racers, even though Sonic Crossworlds looks like a really fun game that I kind of want to pick up eventually. But you know, like stuff like Mario Kart, like or like Crash Team Racing. I haven't really touched on. I think the most I've played was probably Mario Kart Super Circuit, like I said, and then Mario Kart 7 was the one after that. There's like a fucking a decade and a half, like um discrepancy between those. So I do think now that Mario Kart 7 and Mario Kart um World has a bigger time gap than Super Circuit and 7 did, to be fair. But I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, I Mad Dash was a on foot racer that each character had their own special ability, and I played as like the purple cat. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be like a Bubsy ripoff, but the cat was like a lot snarkier and stuff like that. There was also this like dog with a jetpack, and he was like Bud Light, Buzz Lightyear. I forgot his name, and that was Mad Dash. That's all I remember. I remember the intro screen being kind of scary as well. I remember being scared, and then the music started up, and then you're like, "Wow, this game's awesome." And then Cell Damage. I remember playing Cell Damage a lot more because I actually played Cell Damage with my sister. My sister didn't like Mad Dash too much. She always played the donkey though, the donkey character in Mad Dash. I remember that. Um, But yeah, I played as a Cinder in what's it called? Cell Damage, and it's fun. I loved using the axe, and I loved that he had little fireballs. I thought that was pretty cool. Um, and then you got Violet with the mortar, and then you got Dominic, which I'm pretty sure she's got like a whip. And then you got the bulldozer guy, and then the brain guy, and then the guy with the hoverboard or the hovercraft. You know, these are just kind of the things that I that pop up into my mind, at least when I think about um, Cell Damage. Um, what else do I talk about? I mean, I kind of just wanted to fill like 30 minutes. I mean, we still got 10 minutes here. Current games, I'm kind of into. I mean, I'm super into Digimon and Story Seasons. Even though Story Seasons, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't say Story Seasons itself broke my PC, but my PC, something was happening with my PC, and Story of Seasons was not helping it. I think I got that figured out now. I updated my graphics drivers, and it hasn't done anything like that since. So I'm guessing it was either like a memory issue, because there was no nothing came up. There was no errors. It didn't blue screen. It just restarted, and everybody was saying it was a power issue. So I did have my VR headset plugged in, so I unplugged my VR headset, and since then it's been doing fine. I do think the display, the VR headset display, might have been fucking with some sort of power draw and something, because it might have been thinking like it's part of the display, and then it lags it, and then it's like, oh, it's not part of the display. I don't know. That's just what happened there. Um, Fighting games, me for fighting games, I'd say fighting games is probably my most played genre. Unsurprisingly for me, I don't really play games for very long. I guess the longest game I've played is VR Chat and Final Fantasy 14. Those are the most hours I have on Steam. I think I can't really say for certain I have more hours than any other game. I know I have pretty high hours on Fortnite, but not it's not 1,000 hours. I think I'm close to it. Maybe it's like in the 700 to 900 range for Fortnite, and that's not even including PlayStation hours. That's just on pure PC. I want to play more games. I want to play more games and be like more consistent with games. But I don't know. My mind eventually they drop off um playing games. So, you know, a little bit of engagement bait. If you made it this far into the video, let me know some of the games that you played. If you have some stories on games that you enjoyed playing, maybe pause your game that you're playing right now and you know write in the comments a game that you probably felt was very very fun and engaging or something. Like it could be a current game, it could be a childhood game, just as like it just to show me who made it this far in the video. You know, I wouldn't mind seeing some games and maybe some games suggestions. Um, what you guys are playing? I want to know. I want to know what people are playing. Um, that being said, I will close off with fighting games. Um, I've been a massive fan of fighting games ever since I got super into Skullgirls. I remember that was the game that taught me the motions, and I'd say, geez, that's 10 years ago now. I've been a fighting game fan for a decade. I guess the thing that really put me into the path of wanting to play fighting games was I played Smash Bros. As well. I'd say that's probably my most played game as a child. Was Brawl, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Um, and I remember being like pretty good at it. Like I'm pretty good. I played. I was one of those kids that only played Kirby. You know, there's always that guy. He's like I'm only gonna be playing Kirby. That's all I play as. You know, I was that kid. I was that guy. Um, that's not me now. I think I more go towards King Dedede or Zelda or Ike. You know, I play whoever now. Um, but yeah, back then it was only Kirby, and that's what put me on the path to fighting games. Is also because we had Mortal Kombat 9, and I thought Mortal Kombat 9 was fun. I played as Liu Kang, you know, and my no, my sister played Liu Kang. I played Kung Lao. Kung Lao is the guy with the hat. So, um, I would play as Kung Lao, and she would play as Liu Kang, and then we would do this whole thing. And I think that kind of implemented the mind of like the rivalry sort of characters, because you know the characters I like in video games are usually like the rival characters. You know, if we're gonna say fighting games, I like Jamie, even though I play Luke. I do like Jamie's character. I do think he's a little more interesting than Luke. Ken, you know, I like Ken. I wouldn't. I mean, I like Sakura over Ryu or Ken, and I think that's a pretty common thing. Uh, you know, Kai Kisk. I'm not really super into Kai. I did play Kai at the beginning of Strive, and then I played Melia Rage. So, what other big fighting games? Tekken, Asuka, Kazama, you know, Lily, those type of rivalries. Even outside of fighting games, you know, I like Shadow the Hedgehog, but I think that's pretty common to say. Everybody likes Shadow the Hedgehog, even though I think maybe Knuckles is more introduced as a rival, maybe in the beginning. Um, what's it? Goro Akechi. I know some people are super obsessed with Goro Akechi. I'm one of them. I just like his character. I liked his character arc, even though you know it's not he's not necessarily the best character. Everyone's probably gonna say like Haru, and everybody who loves Haru fucking hates Akechi. I know how that works. That's Persona 5. Um, you know, I do enjoy a good rival character. Virgil, if we're talking more like action games, Virgil's a classic sort of mirror rival to the main character. Something about those characters just draws me in. I don't know. I don't necessarily see myself as somebody's rival, like overall. Of course, I've got like I wouldn't even say like competition, but like there's things like I compete with people, but I wouldn't say I'm really like a rival type. You know, I'm not being to be like, oh, you need to beat me. I need to be better so I can beat you, right? Like, you know, I'm just like normal about it. I'm just like, oh, you won, you won. I won, I won. Um, I mean, I guess that's all I really got to say. Thank you, everybody, to listening to me yap about nothing. And I hope you enjoy this sort of just me talking sort of content. I mean, it is like a podcast type of thing, but hopefully it's entertaining enough. I think I'm not. I don't think I'm gonna edit anything in. I didn't really say anything to edit anything in. So, future me, make the thumbnail. and welcome to the first episode. I mean, I guess welcome to the new era of Noneru 9. We're kicking it off. We're having our own podcast, and maybe in the future we can have some of my friends on as guests or whoever. I think that'd be cool. Other than that, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you on my streams. Goodbye.